Hello and welcome to Money Tips. It's Charles Kelly. Hope you're all having a good day. Today I've been in London, in the city, looking at startup funding companies or companies that need money. And, you know, a lot of people, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, there's not enough money around, or I can't get the money for my idea. And yet there is generally an abundance of money in the world, but particularly in London. And for the right idea, there's more money chasing ideas than there is ideas. And I just want to make that clear. I mentioned this in my book, Yes, Money Can Buy You Happiness, that there is an abundance of money. And I'm actually writing another book. I've written another book on how to get rich using debt. And this, I've seen this from my own eyes tonight, how companies can get rich using debt or using other people's money. And when this book comes out, I'll let you know about it, because that you can make money using other people's money. You don't have to save your own money and just use your own money. So I'll explain a bit more about that later. But hi to everyone coming on Facebook Live, and to my listeners on the Money Tips podcast, which you can find on iTunes or moneytipsdaily.com. And I also do a blog on moneytipsdaily.com. So today I was in the city. I saw some companies pitching for money to investors, to angel investors and venture capital investors. Most of them were from Germany, because this was a funding round organised by the Deutsche Börse Venture Network, and Edison Group, based in Holborn. And we had a welcome speech from an officer from the German embassy, Oliver Schramm, who said that London is the major place in the world, the leading place for markets and raising money in the world. And some of the companies that presented to us tonight were Cantox, a fintech company, a biotech company called Mediopharm, who have invented a drug to help with inflammation and things like arthritis and all sorts of diseases. Now, this will take a long time to come to the market, and this is why they need angel funding and venture capital funding to get themselves into a position where they can go to the market. Because, you know, you can't just remortgage your house and then develop a drug over many, many years. They've been going since for about 7 or 8 years already, and it will be another 3 or 4 years before they get the drugs to the market, which has to be approved by the FDA in America and, you know, the NHS and NICE in the UK before you can start promoting it. So yeah, it was a very interesting evening, and I'll explain some of the investments that were there. A couple of the companies were kind of in the rent-to-rent market, where they lease properties from owners and then let them out as either luxury apartments or co-living space, where they provide quality apartments, maybe studios, maybe small apartments, and they have a co-living space area. This is proving popular in big cities all over the world, and this company operates in many cities around Europe, and they're expanding. And, you know, they've already raised, I mean, their growth rate is something like 250%. They have already raised 5 million euros, and they're looking to raise several more million euros, 15 million euros in fact, to expand and spread their markets around the world. They've got locations in Frankfurt, Berlin, Munich, Stuttgart, Cologne, Düsseldorf and Hamburg, and that they want to expand to many other places. They currently manage a couple of thousand properties all over the place. So these are companies that, you know, decided, well, rather than try and grow it organically, we're just going to raise the money. Another one here, Guest Ready. They call themselves Europe's leading short-term rental management company, founded in 2016 only in Switzerland, now manages 2,000 properties in 14 cities in Europe. They're turning over less than a million euros. They're in 2017, 2018, 1 to 5 million. They don't actually say how much they've turned over, but between 5 and 10 million this year. They've had 9 million of funding, and, you know, they're looking for $20 million of funding for expansion into places like Australia. Now they run also a site called HostKeeper, which is for property management companies that they license out to property management companies, because they're very much a tech company. They use technology to make it easy for them to run 2,000 properties, mainly through Airbnb, Booking.com and other sites where they deal with the holiday market and short-term lets. So that's an interesting concept, raising many millions. And they've got offices now in London, Paris, Dubai, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, Lisbon, and they intend to be the world's leading operator. Another company raising funds, Eat Clever. This is a company that leverages existing restaurant facilities. They found that restaurant facilities are not really using their kitchens full time, so they want to kind of light franchise them to offer a healthy takeaway menu that can be delivered to people's homes, and this comes under the Eat Clever brand, and then they will promote it and the restaurants will cook it and get it delivered to people's homes. And they're turning over now something like 5 to 10 million, but obviously turnover, their profit margin is not huge on this, but they're turning over 5 to 10 million. They've had 500,000 euros in funding. They're now looking for around 2 million euros to expand the business. Met the owner there. He's a very clever guy. I think he started in Switzerland, and they're doing very, very well so far, and they intend to expand their market and get around the world. So I've talked about Guest Ready, right? Yeah, I've mentioned that. Cantox, another company, they're leading fintech company, providing processing solutions. Again, they're raising several millions. So all these companies are raising millions, and most of them haven't started that long ago. Another one here. This is the biotech company. Now they've been going a little bit longer, and they're developing a bigger project, which is a drug that could be a safe cure and a safe long-term solution for inflammation and arthritis and things like that. So they're looking for a lot of money. They haven't really got a turnover at the moment because they're not really selling the product because they haven't got it onto the market yet. So these are investment opportunities to get in at the beginning, like the person who got in at the beginning of Facebook and made billions from that. But you've got to be careful with these angel investments. For every one that succeeds, there might be 10 that don't succeed. So other ones here, Yuka Lab, they're dealing with companies that trade in several currencies, a seamless way of trading in several currencies. Another one here, a company called Company, which is spelled almost like Vincent Company with a K. Now they've developed a product which can enable you in real time to search for company information on companies all over the world. Now you can do this in England, in Britain, you can search a company and search the directors, but you can't do that in every country in the world. They've got a platform that can do that, and they're looking for 5 million to 25 million of short to medium term finance, and yet they're turning over less than 1 million at the moment, less than 1 million euros. They've had 8 million of funding already. Now, it might sound crazy figures that these companies have raised 5-10 million and they're not even making any money, but a lot of them intend to become world leaders in their field. There was another company here called Code Intelligence. They've developed a product for data security. They claim that cyber crime and cyber security is costing the industry around the world, something like $80 billion, and banks are getting fined and this sort of thing. So they're looking to help companies secure their platforms so that they don't get attacked. They were developed out of a German University of Berlin. Started they were studying at the University of Berlin and developed this into a business, and they're looking for I think 4 million euros. They've had a couple of million euros already, but they're not turning over a lot of money. and it's amazing how they can raise this sort of funds. So what I'm saying is that if you have a good business idea and you can get together with the right people, you can raise money for that idea. You can go out there and use other people's money to get your business started. You don't have to grow it organically. In fact, one of the companies showed that they have so far raised it organically with their own money, but they did a projection on how they would grow raising it, with the company just doing it organically, and the graph was sort of going up slowly. But if they've got the funding from investors and venture capital funds, the business could grow exponentially much faster. So that's what it's all about. And if you go back to my interview with Joseph Zipfel of the Startup Funding Club, you can see how you can get a business going from scratch to angel investor size, and then maybe to venture capital size, and then maybe to launching it on the market with an IPO or initial public offering. And this is how many businesses have got going that you see on the high street today. They've got going through maybe one or two angel investors or a group of angel investors, and then maybe a venture capital fund. And if you do this in the UK, if you do this with UK companies, there are major tax benefits by using schemes like the EIS and so on. So you can get tax benefits for doing that, and the government encourages. And it's good to see that London, even with the threat of Brexit going on, is still a place where Germans have come to London today to raise finance in London because they know that they can get the money here and get the investment they need here. And many of them are basing their businesses in London. So that's good news for the UK. And I think the UK business will continue. It's still a major city, and I don't see why Brexit will change that. So that's the message today. If you need to raise funds, then come to the UK and you can raise those funds here. And so there's an abundance of money in the world. It's out there, and it doesn't matter if you're anywhere in the world. You can find angel investors in your country. There are people out there who have money. What is an angel investor? It's an investor that will put money into a venture at the early stages. Sometimes it's for theatre shows, sometimes it's for startup businesses. Now, you're not going to get an angel investor to invest in something like, I want to be a plumber, so I'm going to go out and do plumbing work, or I'm going to go out and do cleaning for somebody on my own, because that's not a scalable business. That could be the word of the day. What is a scalable business? A scalable business is something that can be scaled upwards, and whereas somebody working on their own with their own labour, their own time, is not a scalable business. That is something that an angel investor is not going to invest in, because that will just provide a living for you in a self-employed capacity. A scalable business is a business that can be scaled up or grown up to a position where it could be making money for investors. So an example of that might be someone who, say, just starts a restaurant and is a one-man band restaurant. Him and his family run this restaurant, and that's all that they're ever going to do. Whereas the guy that started Yo Sushi, the sushi company where the food goes round on a conveyor belt, Simon Woodruff his name was. Now, he wasn't a restaurateur. He's not a chef. He's not a cook. He's not a waiter. He saw the idea in Japan, brought it to the UK and launched it, and was immediately offered £1 million for that business before it even got going. And he refused that. He made several £1 million from it, sold it, and you can see them. They're still around today. That is a scalable business. Whereas if he just started his own sushi restaurant on his own somewhere, that's not a scalable business. But I don't know how he financed it. He may have financed it through angel investment. But I'm just giving you an example of what is a scalable business. That's my word of the day. What is a scalable business? So if you've got an idea, first of all, is it a good idea? Is it just for you and your family? Is it just a lifestyle business? Or is it going to be a scalable business that would be of interest to investors, where the investors can see a return on the money? An investor wants to get a return on their money. Obviously, they want to get their money back with interest and with a good return from their investment. And hopefully some of these early angel investments can yield huge dividends. I heard of one guy tonight that had put £12,000 into a business. He got 50% back in tax relief through the Enterprise Allowance Scheme, the EIS, and that business today is worth £1 million. Now, he's not out of it yet, but these things can happen. But on the other hand, he may have made 5 or 6 investments that lost money. So you never know. So angel investment is very much at the sharp end, the riskier end of investing. Whereas yesterday I talked about investing in blue chip shares and getting income from those shares. These would be established companies on the FTSE 100 index. So there are lots of ways of investing. Angel investment is just one of them. Check out my interview with Joseph Zipfel of the Startup Funding Club. I'll try and put a link on my blog and have a look at that because it goes through it in a bit more detail. So thanks for listening. This is Charles Kelly bringing you money tips to help you save, earn, invest, accumulate and enjoy more money. Thanks for all the listeners on Facebook Live and bye for now.